All right, so my name is Yeves Perez. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Workbnb. All right, and if I'm responsible for anything, it's not just pitching for investors. I am chief sales, okay? I am the one that investors have the most confidence in my company, okay? And in an early stage, or even sometimes even a later stage company, founder-led sales is a real thing. You have to know what it takes to get adoption. Now, a lot of success that we find, especially here in Las Vegas, is a lot of early stage success. We haven't seen a lot of late stage success just yet, but we're getting close. But the way to get to success is to really understand what it's going to take to get to a real yes, okay? And I wanted to spend this time kind of different from my previous class that I gave a talk on. I talked about all the different strategies that a founder could adopt to get some traction, okay? This time, I'm actually going to talk about actual people, because if you can create different buckets and put those people into buckets, then you can see what actually works, okay? Now, who thinks that sales is easy? Okay. I'm going to talk about this in that kind of context because it can be stupid easy if you know who to say, get a yes from. You just have to know who, okay? Now, in most companies, we hear a lot of conversations about buying power. And, you know, there's always these narratives of well, women have more buying power right now, okay? But that's not simplified enough. You actually have to put people into buckets. And I want to give you the very first bucket that changed my life. I was told this term called an initiator. And an initiator is actually what we fall in love with when we start doing our sales, because we keep thinking that the person who shows us interest is actually the buyer. That could be totally wrong. That could actually just, what it sounds like, it's somebody who initiates a conversation to get more information to take it to the real decision maker. So, but if you're not aware of what an initiator is and what their habits are, you could actually be spending a lot of time, which then makes your sales cycle longer, okay? Now, what are the key characteristics of an initiator? Number one, they're super hyped when they get to know you. Oh my God, they're so hyped. Oh my God. I love what you're building, tell me more. I don't know if anybody's heard that. I love what you're building, tell me more, okay? The other thing that's really interesting about this particular person is that they don't tell you that they're not the decision maker. They don't even let you know up front, you know? They will kind of lead you down a path to get to the next bucket. Now, the next bucket is the one that we also think we're in love with a lot as founders, which is a product user. How many really kind of understand this term user? We understand it? Yeah? Okay. Now, users are in many variations. And in your first 5 years, you may have multiple different types of users. But that doesn't mean that they're the actual decision maker. Because sometimes users are influenced by other people. And let me say that one more time. Sometimes users are influenced by other people. So it's okay, well, I can't put everybody into this user bucket. I need to really understand who is going to pull the trigger. Well, the next bucket we see everywhere. I mean, you read about it all the time. You see it on TikTok. You see it on Instagram. You see it everywhere. The influencer. Oh man, everybody wants to be an influencer nowadays, right? Now, yeah, that can be a decision maker because they run their own thing and they will tell you they can reach other decision makers, but that's not always true too. But you can put them in a bucket, and I think it's a safe bucket to put people in. It's like, this person has some influence over other people, but do they influence decision makers? Okay? Now, the next bucket is the real decision maker. But I'm going to skip this one. I want to talk about two more. You have a gatekeeper. Has anybody heard of gatekeepers? Oh, man. Gatekeepers suck. It's their job to keep you out. That's their thing. Okay, cool. Send me all the details and I'll take a look at it. Because they want to protect the actual real decision maker, the real buyer. Now, the real buyer is somebody who has a process to saying yes, okay? So a lot of times they don't need to hear your pitch. They don't even need to know all the details. A lot of times they thinking like committee type stuff, whether it be like a spouse, they decide as a couple, or it's somebody who is deciding on their own. But one of the main characteristics of a decision maker is that they have approval over money. Okay? Now in the B2B space, that's typically the CFO. So anybody who's building a CFO or building a B2B space, you need to really think about the CFO. What are they going to say? Because they're the ones that actually sign off on the thing. Okay? Now, I'm going to say one more thing about B2B before I move on to B2C. The initiator can actually influence the CFO. Okay? I'll say that one more time. The initiator can actually influence the CFO. Because sometimes the CFO is not the actual person that's implementing the actual product. So they may just settle on what the initiator says is right for them. As long as it financially makes sense, they'll sign off on it. But in the B2C space, real adoption is really kind of based on what I think are the most true characteristics of a decision maker. Okay? Again, they have action over the money, but also they buy on experience. They want the experience. They want the experience of this product working in their lives, right? And what you have to do is you have to break past all these other buckets to find out who are the people that get that experience and understand it. And then you have to replicate that person. Now the best way to find who is your real buyer is to do something called a focus group. Has anybody heard of a focus group? Okay. I would love every founder in Las Vegas to get stupid good at focus groups. It is where you get a bunch of people in the room and you ask very specific questions. But the real decision maker will separate themselves when you ask them the priority question. And I brought this up in the talk about VC. The priority question goes like this. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the lowest, 10 being the highest, if I solve X problem for you, what is the likelihood of you adopting this product? A decision maker who really loves it, they're going to tell you 5 and above. They're going to tell you 5 and above. That's going to be the number that they land on. Because they have the power to say yes. They have the influence to say, they have everything to say yes. Everybody else, they're going to like fall into 5 or below because they don't really know. They need to go ask somebody. So separate them. Put them into buckets. It is going to help accelerate what you're doing fast. Okay? Now, how do I know this? Well, my experience in building Workbnb was that we didn't know how to build a product. I'm a non-technical founder. I don't know how to code shit. I felt like I found an overlooked niche. I went and double verified and asked people what they were doing previously to solve this particular problem that I had discovered. And I heard some crazy shit. There was a construction executive that told me that housing for his workers was so complicated sometimes, he would personally sign leases for his workers. That sounds nuts. I mean, I was like, wait, what? You signed the leases? He's like, yeah, I did what I had to do. Because the construction project started next month, and if I didn't find housing, my only alternative was to put them in a hotel. And I knew if I did that, they would quit. They told me they would quit. So I did what I had to do. And the very first thing I did was I asked him the priority question, and he said, it's a 9. You solve this problem for me, I'm going to use it tomorrow. Okay, bet. Got my first client to say yes. And it was such a strong yes. Guess what happened next? We started to build the product. Hey, how are you doing? Come on and sit down. We started to build the product. We were working together on it. And he loved what we were building so much, he decided to cut a check as an angel investor. I was like, shit.
What do you do with Workbnb?
So we provide housing for traveling workers that travel throughout the country. And the example I'm talking about is construction. You see it everywhere. They have to send workers everywhere. And we just found an overlooked niche. You know, all the other products like Airbnb, VRBO, Booking.com, they focus on leisure, vacation, or they focus on white-collar business travel. Blue-collar workers were completely overlooked. And I was like, okay, I think I'm going to build something. But again, like I had to figure out, like, who am I going to get a yes from? Now, as I was dropping people into buckets, I paid attention to a couple things. I paid attention to what their job title was. Most of my initiators in my field were simple office managers, general office managers. Those were because they were the ones who actually were tasked with housing people. They're the ones who had to get on the phone or get on a product and look at things and go through the struggles of trying to find housing. So they had the pain, but guess who also had pain? The actual worker. Because if that office manager couldn't find something, they had to stay in the hotel. So they're the actual user, the end user, but they don't have any power. They don't get to choose where they stay. So they couldn't recommend something to their company. So, okay, I had to put them in another bucket. Okay, they're an influencer of some kind, but not really. The initiators couldn't really give me any power. The CFO is the one that writes the check. Okay, so I'm starting to string things along, but then I found out who my real buyer is. It's the vice president of operations. which is a low enough job to where I could actually meet them at certain networking events and go have a cocktail, go to their like monthly mixers, and I'm meeting VP of operations of this company and VP of operations, and I give them a pitch. 30 seconds. Hi, I'm the co-founder and CEO of Workbnb. We built this tech product that helps you find housing faster. I would love to give you a demo if you're interested. Oh, wow, that sounds great. Come and meet me at my office. Within one meeting, I was getting signed, paid pilots. One meeting, because I found my buyer. I found my actual yes person. And I didn't spend any time else doing anything else. I was not running ads. I wasn't doing TikTok dances trying to look stupid. I wasn't, paying for conference space and doing all these other things thinking that's what's going to work. Focus groups will actually help you get to who you need to talk to based on buckets, okay? Now, the other thing that I really want to emphasize on, especially for the tech world, is that you should never get comfortable. I know this is going to sound crazy, but as you continue to grow and expand, shiny things will come along. New, different customers you've never talked to. People there will just like, oh my God, I'm in this industry and I'm in that industry and I want to get involved with you. Like, you could literally get off track if you start chasing the shiny things. I highly recommend every founder getting good at saying no, or I'm not ready for that, because I want to get really good at this. This is important because you can start to build brand value by hyper-focusing on this one niche, dominating this niche, getting everybody in this niche talking about you, to the point where when you want to take on something, you have so much cash in the bank, you can start to think about other things. It's a discipline, and I had to learn it myself. It was kind of challenging because in the world of housing, there's a lot of different types of traveling workers. I'm pretty sure everybody's heard of like traveling nurses, right? And I had so many people in my ear, bro, you need to get traveling nurses. Bro, you need to get traveling nurses. And I was like, okay, let me look into it. And I'll never forget this. I was in Florida kind of testing my concept in Florida. I wanted to test. And I wanted to do focus groups there. And in Orlando, Florida, there's huge hospital systems that have tons of traveling nurses. And I had this one company called Advent Health reach out to us and say, hey, we have a housing problem. We think you can fix it. And I said, okay, well, let's talk numbers. How many nurses, traveling nurses, do you bring into your system? Well, they have a training program that trains international nurses to get licensed and then start working in the United States. So, for lack of better words, this program imports about 1,000 nurses a year. I was like, holy shit, 1,000? And they were like, yeah, and we pay for their housing. And I was like, wow, like, that's a lot of money. Like, shiny. It was shiny. Right. So she was like, I would like a proposal. Okay, I'm working with her for like a month or two, getting all the details together, put together a big proposal, all this stuff. And she's like hitting me with all these objections. No, this, I don't like this, I don't like that. I mean, like, I'm getting frustrated now. When I was talking to construction, all I got was yes. Like one fucking meeting. I'm getting 30 workers, 50 workers, 90 workers. The biggest booking I ever did was for a construction company. They needed a 2-bedroom condo for a site supervisor. Their budget was $200 a night. I said, how long you need it for? They said 2.5 years. That was $180,000 for one employee. I was like, oh shit, this is what I need to build for. That's some serious cash. But when I heard 1,000, I started to chase, and guess what she wanted? She wanted the same housing that this guy was willing to pay, $200 a night. She wanted the same shit for $50 a night. By the time I got through that, I wasted 3 fucking months of my life. Bullshit. I still hate her. I blocked her on everything because I was just like, bitch, don't you ever reach out to me again. But I mean, I'm telling you, this journey as an entrepreneur, you can actually, do damage to yourself to the point where it's like you mess up your mental health, you mess up your emotions, you start to get a little like vengeful in your heart. Like I actually have a black book of names that I've written people off because I'm so pissed at them. You know what I mean? Because they waste my fucking time. But again, if you think about this, your time is your most valuable resource. So if you're going to get really good at sales, marketing, advertising, anything related to distribution, think of your time. What is that worth to you? So again, chasing people, going to a networking event. Is it the right networking event? Are the right people in the room? Do the research first so that all you do month over month is go to the right people. Okay? Now, lastly, and I want this to really stick with everybody. Go-to-market is the hardest part of the startup journey, okay? Because if you get it wrong, you're going to question everything for a long time. You're going to question the product. Is the product wrong? Do I need to launch another feature to get people, you know what I mean? Like, you'll go into this death spiral of getting it wrong over and over and over because you just didn't get the distribution right, okay? So, if you focus on getting the distribution right, then you'll be able to replicate it in another market. You'll be able to grow and expand it into these bigger metrics that are just like kicking ass. But you have to think about one question all the time as a distribution person. Okay? I ask myself this question every single day. What did I do today to get a customer? When you master that, it will affect what you actually do. Did I send that email? Did I make that call? Did I knock on that door? Did I research that networking event that I need to go to? I mean, guys, this is Vegas. Every tech industry in the United States comes to Vegas to do a networking event. Multiple times a year. This is the best city in the United States for distribution specialists to get customers. If you can get customers while they're here in Vegas, you can keep doing this over and over till you have, again, so much cash in the bank. Now you're going to their Atlanta chapter. Now you're going to their, because you have the money to go. You have the confidence to go because it worked here. It'll work anywhere. But you have to work at it like a scientist. You literally have to create a recipe for success for yourself, But again, a good recipe, anybody who loves cooking, is all about the ingredients and the quality of the ingredients. The quality of your yes people will determine how great this thing is. Okay? Now, I also want to give everybody like tangible takeaways, okay? So I told you the priority question. That's a fantastic takeaway, okay? I learned that from a product manager who was on the team that built Twitter and Stripe. They would ask the priority question. But I got to tell you this. Sales, there's no silver bullet. Everybody has different ways of saying yes to something. I want to tell everybody what's been working for me. It's really like a personal thing. It's a one-on-one thing. And what people appreciate the most is how authentic you are. Okay? They can smell a fake. I don't know if you've ever had a fake person try to pitch you something before and you were just so annoyed by how fake they were, you could smell it. You were just like, you don't even see me. Like, yo, it is terrible. But I've been that guy before. Okay? One of my first jobs, when I was in my 20s, I'm 43 now, by the way. But when I was in my 20s, I was desperate for money just like any other 20-year-old. I wanted a job. And I'll never forget this. I was walking down this one street, and I saw this for hiring sign, car salesman. The sleaziest sales job on planet fucking Earth. The sleaziest sales job on planet fucking Earth. They teach you nothing but how to lie. If somebody asks you, can this car go 200 miles an hour, you will say yes. I had to lie so much just to keep my job. I don't even remember what my name was half the time. It was crazy because I would just say yes to anything that anybody would say yes. Yes, yes. One time the lie was so bad. Does anybody know Hondas really well? Honda cars? Okay. Well, so Honda had a car that was pretty popular in Japan. It looked like a box on wheels. And they brought that car to the United States. I forget what it was called, but it looks literally like a box. And Scion had a car that looked like that. It just looked like a box. Had no aerodynamic design whatsoever. It was just a box on wheels. Right. And in the showroom, they had this car. It was the first year it was premiering, and they set up like a little campsite, and they put like a little tent accessory because they were trying to market people who were outdoorsy. And at the time I was living in San Diego, there's a lot of people that go camping out in San Diego, out in the Anzo Borrego Desert and other places, like, a lot of outdoorsy folks. So this lady comes up, she's looking at it, and Element, that's the car. That's the car. So this lady comes up, she's looking at it, and she's like, oh my gosh, this is so cute. I think I want to buy this. And I was like, yes, let's do this. Let's sign the paperwork. I'm rushing the process. Like, I'm just trying to get her into finance and get out. And she's like, can I take you for a test drive? And I was like, fuck. She's going to find out. Because we had this deep, dark secret. Everybody thought that it would perform off-road. So guess what? She wants to take it out. And I'm like, shit. Fuck. Okay, here we go. Just keep her on the road. Don't let her go off-road of any kind. Okay? So we're driving around, And she's like, oh, look, a little trail. And I was like, oh, no, that's not safe. There's snakes out there. I'm lying my ass off to keep her up. And she's like, well, what about this one? And I was like, I don't see any snakes. I was like, no. Finally, she goes off road. Yo, we're not even gravel like this deep, and the fucking wheels are spinning out. Like, I mean, we're stuck. We're literally stuck. And she looked at me and she was like, you should be ashamed of yourself. Yo, I quit. Because I was ashamed of myself. You know, I was raised in a very proud black family to be proud about what you do and, you know, all this type of stuff. One thing that was very proud in our family was that we are great heirs to a gentleman named Hiram William Revels. He was the first black senator of the United States from Mississippi. That's my heritage. And I'm over here lying to people about cars. I was damn ashamed of myself. But then, you know, years later, I get into marketing. And I start to understand the science of marketing and what goes into marketing. And I see the sausage being made. I see those that lie and those that tell the truth. Those that build brand value tell the truth. Those that actually want to solve problems, they will tell the truth. And if they get it wrong, they're going to tell people, we got it wrong. We're going to fix it. So I always started to, you know, get back my confidence in sales. That sales can be something about being authentic. Now what is authentic to me in Workbnb? Okay? Number one, I built a brand persona of who I am as chief sales. All of my social media handles are Workbnb CEO. Okay? And in that brand, I say a lot of yes things in a column of like what I want that brand to be. And I say no to a lot of things that I don't want to be associated. Now, one of the things that I love about my persona as Workbnb CEO is I'm a very swaggy guy. I love style, okay? So I'm wearing like Wakanda Crocs right now. I'll wear these in a meeting. I'll wear Jordans in a meeting. I'll wear a gold chain. I wear my sunglasses when I'm pitching. That's my persona. I like that. I'm very much influenced by a very popular guy right now, Coach Deion Sanders, Coach Prime. I love it. I'm here for it because I mean, he talks about it all the time, confidence. You know? So I've adopted that. I'm like, yo, that's me. I love it. I'm going to rock with that. If I get invited to the White House, I'm wearing Jordans, yo. Others have done it. I can do it too. But when I'm with these decision makers, I don't code switch. I don't get into this space that I'm uncomfortable with and I'm lying to you about who I am. People like that shit. When you know they like you, they will actually tell you, Yeves, I like you. You're real with me. You keep it real. You keep it honest. Where do I sign? That is going to be the fastest way for you to get yeses. You know, my guy right here, the artist, like this is his thing. Go to everything the same. Build that brand persona because you want to be able to get as many yeses as possible. Because guess what? It takes actual energy to get to a yes. So you don't want to use any energy being fake. Okay? Now, does anybody have any questions about what I've said thus far? Go ahead.
So for the buckets of people, if I'm understanding correctly, you have the influencer, the initiator, the gatekeeper, and the decision maker. Did I miss any?
That's the gist of it. Let me double check one thing, because, okay, the end user. Don't forget the end user, okay? The end user may not be the actual decision maker. You have to be aware of that. It just depends on your product. Any questions? Yeah?
What was the priority question?
Okay, so the priority question goes like this. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the lowest, 10 being the highest, if I can solve X problem for you, what's the likelihood of you to adopt this product? Okay? Now again, I didn't say what the product is or what it does just yet. All I'm saying is product. Because anybody who've actually built a product, we know that there's a user journey, and you could fuck up the user journey and they never really get to understand the product. There's a lot that goes into making a product. So it takes time. But again, if you get the priority question right, what you're going to really find out is speed. Anybody who says 5 or below, it's going to take a long time to get them to say yes. I have seen too many founders build something, take it to a customer, the customer says, oh, this is cool, or what they think is a customer, and then that person goes, we'll look into it next year. Well, what the fuck? I'm solving a problem. Well, you didn't ask the priority question. That question, that one question, will change the course of all of your sales. Any other? Go ahead.
To build on that, so let's say, just a hypothetical. So we're in the construction industry, right? And one guy says to your priority question a 9, but another says a 3. What do you do in that situation?
So again, the 9 is actually the decision maker. Someone who has decision-making authority will say yes to a high priority. The ones that say 5 or below are not your decision maker, because they need to ask somebody. Wait a minute, I need to figure this out. We'll get back to you. You know, they're going to delay as much as possible. You'll find out by that answer. Go ahead.
Yeah, so pretty much it seems like you have to nail down. So you mentioned the different players, right? Obviously, we want to avoid the gatekeepers, but so you mentioned obviously the initiator and the decision maker. So we seem that we have to nail down not only just the decision maker, but I guess the person who is either adjacent to the person that actually writes the check, or is it versus the obviously you want to get the person who.
Well, what's great about a focus group is that it really helps you identify all the players. Okay, getting lots of feedback from lots of people. Different job titles, different. You know what I mean? Like in the early stages, and this is what sucks about early stage. Most of us are bootstrapped. Some of us have a little bit of money from friends and family. But you have to be very intentional with the very little resources that you have, okay? Getting people together is not that difficult. It's a simple invitation. You can leverage other people to get people there for you. But basically, like, you could rent out like a space like this in a co-working space and get a group this size and just, again, get everybody's job title, get info on them, and then start asking questions, okay? And then put everybody, based on their questions, into buckets. And you'll start to figure this thing out. Now, it may take you a couple rounds, But again, once you start to figure out like who the decision maker is, now you want to just start chasing that person, that job title, that thing. That's the thing you want to go after hard. Go ahead.
I was just going to say in defense of the gatekeeper. I was the gatekeeper in my corporate role,
Okay, of course, yeah.
but I'm the decision maker. I was the decision maker. Anybody that came to me knew I was the gatekeeper, but they also knew that I had to hear the person that wrote the check.
So that's what we're going to learn in the process. If I ask you the priority question, you're like, shh, I'm the gatekeeper and I'm the decision maker.
Right.
Because you can say yes, but there's a lot of gatekeepers that do not have that authority, and they won't give you a real good answer on the adoption.
But gatekeepers are your best friends, because if you can get through that gatekeeper to specific
She
decision
had
makers.
access.
Well, I got to tell you, right? As a gatekeeper, how easy was it to make friends?
It wasn't.
Right. Okay, let's be realistic here. You had a real job,
Yes.
and there was a lot of fake ass people trying to sell you shit, right? Like all the time, right? Like so what ends up happening? You have a wall, that wall is up all the time, you know, and it's kind of like, don't waste my time, just send me an email.
Right. Send me your
Right.
proposal on how
Now,
to right.
what percentage of those emails did you read?
If I'm being honest,
Yeah,
maybe 2%.
2%. You see how low? Yeah,
Because I was sold on something immediately.
right.
Because they presented it well enough for me to say, you know what, I'm engaged with that. I'm going to continue this conversation.
Yeah, yeah.
And then everyone else just didn't know how to pitch it.
And
I
pitching,
didn't have time to figure it out. Like,
Yeah.
you can't pitch it. I can't figure this out for you.
right. Pitching is a big part of this, but again, you can give me a good pitch, but if you don't really figure out the priority,
Right.
you're not really going to get anywhere very far. So what's going to help you pitch is understanding the priority. Get to know these type of folks better and the priority that it is for them to solve the problem, because they will say, you know what, you should pitch it this way. She will literally help you write your pitch when you get to know your customer. That is super helpful, because again, 2 years from now, this is where I am. I'm in 2 years later, and I go to the networking event and I'm like, hi, my name is Yeves Perez, Like the pitch is so wild good that it's like, let's get a meeting and let's sign up. 30 seconds, I'm in a meeting. Got the meeting, boom, boom, boom. The pitch is so solid, it's tight. She's like signing, and now I'm just doing this over and over and over again because I'm so good at it. Question.
Two-part question. How do you decide on what you bring into market? Basically, the product that you're choosing. And the second part question is, how do you choose your target market? Because I know you said, because when you first started talking about your business, I was thinking like, oh, travel nurses.
Yeah.
So that's totally not what you deal with. So
Right.
yeah.
Okay. All right. So that one's kind of tough, but I'm going to give you like some real honesty. Okay. A lot of times we build without thinking about our profit margins in mind. Okay. If you actually see a lot of companies and products go down, it's just because it's not that they can't get sales. It's just that the margins are terrible. Like you have to turn an idea into a real business. So this is like business economics, right? Like, I mean, I don't know if you ever watched Shark Tank, but a lot of that shit is like real life, Like, the margins are terrible. Your strategy of like, what do you call it? Like, let's think of a strategy, direct to consumer. You can get higher margins versus in a big box retailer, right? Like the big box retailer wants you to drop your price, which drops your margins, and then you have to do this huge volume, and you don't have enough money for the volume. So month over month, yeah, you're getting like hella sales, but what you actually profit is nothing to afford to keep the business going. And then the sharks go, no, I'm out, sorry. I love the product, but your business sucks. So really, you have to reverse engineer this thing. You have to think like large first. Has anybody ever done TAM, SAM, and SOM? Okay, I hate that fucking shit, but it's actually really good for you in one really good way. It helps you re-engineer backwards. And trust me, I'm new to this. When I say this, I actually learned this just this year. Okay, so I'm a little bit of a late bloomer when it comes to actually my true numbers and how my business models actually work. I mean, I had a hunch, but I'm not a numbers guy. Okay, but I hired a CFO. And I said, well, here's what my SOM is, my service attainable market here in the United States. I think by year 5, I'm going to be able to generate $3 billion in sales by year 5. Now, all the investors that I were pitching thought I was fucking crazy. They're like, how do you think, you're going to get $3 billion in sales? Right? But I believed I could do it. So, anyway, we re-engineered the numbers and we figured out the margins. And my margins are like 68% year 1. Oh, shit, my profit margin. I was like, oh, shit. Shit. Like, my model worked. He's like, the CFO said to me, he said, Yeves, you're not fucking crazy. This is a beautiful business model. The margins are so high. Because I'm doing what actually works. We're not a discount marketplace. We actually rent these properties on a nightly rate. The margin is in there at a nightly rate. And for how long we're renting them, and again, think about the project that I told you about, 2.5 years. Came out to $180,000. That's how much the company had budgeted for that one employee. So I'm earning my take rate. Then I have my cost of goods. Then I have my expense, you know what I mean? My operating. And if I grow at an annual growth rate of this is what my margins are. And I was like, oh shit, let's go. Let's get it. I'm hyped every single day. I'm hyped every day. And that's why investors are cutting checks. Because they're like, shit. If you get even a fraction of this, you're actually really, remember what she said about a first or second base hit? And the other thing with the VC, they really want a home run, but even if they, at the least, they got a double, they're like, well, shit, that's good, But again, like, it really takes a lot of effort to get this thing right. And I think that's why VC, in a lot of ways, is kind of predatory, because they have experience and they have other people that they can bring in that have gotten it right before. So, again, beat them to it. Don't let somebody else come in and teach you how to sell.
Okay, I got it. So in your industry, that makes sense. So I have all my retail store.
Okay.
For the past 4 years, no issue. Temu comes on. I'm like, what the hell? How do we compete with this? We sell the exact same products from the exact same warehouses, from the exact same suppliers. Nothing is different.
Okay.
Except Temu.
Right.
They're subscription-based selling.
Right.
And the same product we sell for $40, they sell it for $2.99.
Right. Okay, all right. So,
And they steal your data, and we know.
okay. Number one, this is about the comfortable thing that I was talking about. We can get comfortable. Okay? Shit's going great, and you don't see any. No, you need to always be uncomfortable. You're only thinking about Timo. There could be 20 other things that are coming.
There's Timo, there's she.
Yeah, they could come out. Now here's the thing. Because this is all about strategy. Okay? That may not be a winning strategy. No. I mean Timo. Okay? Because there's a lot of industries that run what's called a loss leader strategy. Let's practically give it away to get customers hooked on us, and then we'll raise the prices later. Okay? There's a lot of companies that do that. But what they do is they raise a lot of debt, VC money, private equity money, whatever, in like these huge amounts, so that they can take a loss for a very long time. And you know who was great at that? Amazon. Amazon was not profitable for a long fucking time because that was the strategy. Let's cut prices. Let's make it low. Let's make it cheap. Let's get it out. Let's push it. And what did it do to the bookstores, right? Same shit. This is the same shit. Okay?
It's still not profitable. It's the AWS that's subsidizing.
Right. So for you have to get uncomfortable. You have to revisit your whole business model. You need to revisit everything, and you need to out strategize them. Business is all about strategy. Okay? And it doesn't mean it's going to last forever. You're going to have to go from one thing to the next thing to that thing to this thing, and you may have to reinvent yourself 20 times. So consider it a blessing, that you're still in business. But you're going to have to really think about value proposition, okay? One of the best things I ever learned was an article. I read this, almost 10, 15 years ago. It was about, it was an article in the Harvard Business Review, and they were talking about value proposition, and they were talking about big box retailers, and they talked about Walmart, JCPenney, and Saks. And they had like these 3 boxes, and they talked about like what they were strong in strategically. And one of the things in those boxes was customer service. And Walmart purposely, on purpose, chose to be terrible at customer service so that they could take that money that they weren't putting into customer service, and then they could do their whole rollback pricing thing. It's a strategy. So maybe you have to pivot and you have to say, you know what? Let them go after the cheap people. I may have to now go after the Birkin buyer. I may have to go luxury, and that's a whole nother competition, right? But again, you're going to have to talk to your core customers and say, hey, I don't think I want to play in this strategy. Let's talk about a problem that you're having that maybe I can solve so that you only want to come to me now. And what's that problem and what's the priority for you?
Luxury on a budget, we've shifted. So we can meet our margins. If I'm at 12% or higher, I'm good.
Yeah, you'll be super happy, right?
Right, so we kind of pivoted from
Right.
that direction.
Right.
Because the response is better at luxury on a budget.
Yeah.
I can't deal with the cheap stuff.
Well, strategy is all about a lot of different things, but whatever you're comfortable with, it's your business. Whatever gets you excited and gets you out of bed, that's really what you should be doing, right? But do it with intention. Do it authentically, you know. Put out more messages from you, not your talking brand. you know, and have fun while you're doing it. You know, it's a journey. So go ahead.
I was actually online marketing. How do you feel about that? Ads.
Okay, so I'm glad you asked this question because I was on the launch team for Chevrolet when we launched the Chevy Volt, the electric car, 2013. And yo, that was like the golden time of like digital ads because it was just so new and exciting, and you know, everybody was clicking everything. I mean, it was just like, oh shit, a new ad? Oh shit, what does it do? You know what I mean? Like, I mean, it was great. But now privacy has been invaded so much that I can't have a conversation with you without my phone listening. We could talk about Mexico and I'll go on Instagram and it's like, hey, you want to go to Mexico? I'm like, you fucking dick. So, but now the phone manufacturers like Apple have literally these new privacy laws and things and tools to limit the effectiveness. So there are literally tech companies that are going out of business right now because their ads are no longer effective as they were. And that's why they're switching to influencers. They're like, oh, this guy's doing this new TikTok dance and he's got 40 million views. Let's pay him some money.
Send them a free product.
Yo, that shit's oversaturated. And you could bet on 5 and maybe get a little bit of a return, unless it's Deion Sanders. But I'm just saying, I don't like it, not at a startup stage. I think that if you can just get really good at being super focused and effective on your own, to where it's like you're hitting some really good numbers, right? Then you can actually do something else. And I actually want to be one of the first entrepreneurs to really pioneer a new type of sales. I want to do something I call storytelling-led sales, where it's I get my customers to go out and really sell for me. I want to post more videos of them. I want to post their stories. I want more content that goes out like nuts, where it's less about me and it's more about them. Because what I've learned about in my space particularly is that this niche was so underserved for a very long time that they have unions and whole associations that they will go and buzz to, and they'll be like, oh man, like we need to get with this. And if you think about some of the core values of blue collar workers, this is what I learned. There's a lot of brotherhood in this thing, sisterhood in this thing. I'm going to look out for you. We look out for each other. You see it a lot when people are out picketing for better pay, better rights. All the other union workers are like, go get your money, bro, right? There's some brotherhood in that. So as I continue to grow Workbnb throughout the world, I'm going to have something to tap into that creates a movement. And there will be people who will be so prideful in the user of it that when I eventually take this company public, that's my dream. I got my little tattoo right here. That's my dream. I want to ring the New York Stock Exchange. Ding, 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 ding. That when I do that, they're going to be one of the first people to actually buy the stock because they're so proud of it. Little strategy. Go ahead.
So you spent quite a bit of time during your presentation advocating for authenticity in sales. I've found that also to be true, that people respond to authenticity. However, there's always a lot of pressure from society to conform. And I guess in a corporate environment, that's even more so. So I'm wondering if you have any advice as far as mental game, or like what's your mental game like as far as sticking to what your values and what you believe in and whatnot?
Yeah, so I was always a fan of Nike. I don't know if anybody else is a fan of Nike. But years ago, there was a very famous memo that was published within the company, and they talked about their guiding principles. And one of the top guiding principles is that they're in the business of change, which is code for being uncomfortable, okay? And what I did was I just copied them. I said, you know what, I'm gonna write my own guiding principles, and I'm gonna just have this as a constant reminder, no matter how good it is and no matter bad it is in business, as long as I can stick to my guiding principles, I will feel good about what I'm doing. Because that's the main thing about your mental health is, do you really love what you do and do what you love, or do you not? Because if you don't, you're gonna burn out anyway. Doesn't matter how good you are. Eventually, by year 9, 10, you're just like, I'm done. But if you look at these other people, man, they're still with it. They're still with it, they love it, you know? So, now the other thing, because I am CEO, there's all these new things that are coming out that really help. One of the things that I've decided to prioritize for our company is a 4-day work week. In our company, we take Wednesday off. I'll tell you why. Can you go to the doctor on a Saturday? No. Can you go to the dentist on a Saturday? Right? Life is more than just work, okay? So if I need you at 100%, then why do I work you to the point where you're always at 50 or below? It's crazy what people put people through, okay? So I'm like, listen, I tell everybody who works for us, we only work a 4-day work week. We have this thing called Self-Care Wednesday. Go do some shit for yourself. Go for a walk, go take a nap, go take care of your kids, go to the doctor, go to the dentist. Wednesdays is your day to you. So when you come back Thursday and Friday, let's go. Let's go get it. And everybody loves it, you know? So I've been rocking with it. It's been working. We've been hitting numbers. We've been doing things. But again, that's what I mean. If you get your strategy and your buyer right and all these types of things right, everything else kind of falls into place. But if you get this wrong, then you're questioning everything about the business. And you think you have to work a gazillion hours to make it. No, you don't. All right. Well, hey guys, thank you for your time. You can follow me on Instagram, Workbnb CEO. I'm available on LinkedIn. Yeves Perez, Yeves, Perez, Perez. I go by the remote work champion. That's kind of like my little thing. And I have some articles that just came out. As I talked about earlier this morning, we had an article come out in the Las Vegas Review Journal about 30 days ago. I had an article come out in Harvard Business Review, and then we just also had a feature story come out in TechCrunch. So, you know, my brand is growing. I have another interview that's about to drop in Inc. magazine. I'm super excited to do this thing every single day. But I am very intentional on getting my numbers. So as you continue to hear more about Workbnb and all that stuff, you'll see why. It's all the stuff that I talked about right here. I don't do anything other than what I'm telling you guys. I don't buy people I don't buy flowers. I don't take people out to lunch. I don't you know, subscribe to Hookers and Blow to get a sales job. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't mess around. You know, like I'm very intentional on how we close deals.
Did you write an article for COVID, like how to sustain, because I would imagine like during the shutdown it was a little bit different.
You know, for me, it was very good. COVID was good for us because the only people that were allowed to travel during the shutdown were essential workers.
Right.
So I was booming.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Then you create your article.
Right. So yeah, I was very like go with media, interviews, articles, podcasts. Like, yo, I was bringing it out. Like,
They're all over your.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But it, you know, again, like I'm obsessed with go-to-market, so I know a lot about the different strategies with the different types of business models. So it doesn't matter if it's med tech, ed tech, this tech, that tech, like these frameworks that I'm telling you can be applied to any type of thing, you know?
I'll be reaching out to you.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, shit. Thank you.